Hey, what's up? This is neo-serf. I've started to see a shift in the online dialogue about climate change, where people are starting to put more of an emphasis on methane and other gases than carbon dioxide. Uh, it, that seems misguided to me. I don't know where this new impetus comes from, but let's have a look at some graphs I picked up from the US government website and see if that's true or not. So my source here is the EPA.gov website. I've linked the URL below, and you can see in the corner there US greenhouse gas emissions in 2015 and a pie chart where it's estimating that 82% of emissions are labeled as carbon dioxide and 10% as methane. Now the key thing here is the units of this pie chart. What it's calculated in is million metric tons of CO2 equivalent. So this isn't tonnage, this is a converted tonnage based on the contribution to global warming of the particular gas. So what does that mean? Well, let's look into it. So here's a better explanation of the units. Some gases are more effective than others at making the planet warmer and thickening the Earth's blanket. That's a strange way to describe it, but whatever. For each greenhouse gas, a global warming potential, or GWP, has been calculated to reflect how long it remains in the atmosphere on average and how strongly it absorbs energy. Gases with a higher GWP absorb more energy per pound than gases with lower GWP per pound. That's some old school measurements. And thus contribute more to warming Earth. Okay, so let's try and understand this a bit deeper. If we go to the EPA.gov website and have a look at where they explain the units of measurement in understanding global warming potentials, it's telling us here that CO2 has a GWP of 1, so everything is measured relative to CO2. And methane has an estimated GWP of 28 to 36 over 100 years. So that means that it would take 28 kilograms of CO2 in the atmosphere to have the same global warming potential as 1 kilogram of methane. Something that's interesting about this piece of information is that it has a range. So it says between 28 and 36, and that it says it decays over 100 years. So it seems that in some ways it would be better if methane was the major contributor because it would decay over time. Whereas CO2, according to this, it says the concentrations will last thousands of years. So whereas a methane problem would solve itself to some extent, a CO2 problem won't. And that's complicated, but that's complicated by the fact that methane decays into ozone. To be honest, this is too inspecific for us to draw any conclusions from that. So, as it stands right now, it seems that carbon dioxide is still the biggest contributor of CO2 in terms of the global warming potential of the gas. The important part of why I'm trying to say this is because, as I mentioned earlier, there's been a narrative online that methane is the biggest contributor and we should be focusing all our efforts on methane. And that means looking at farming, particularly meat farming, but also all types of farming that produces methane, and also other parts of human activity like how we dispose of waste. Uh, I don't think that's warranted based on what I'm reading. Um, it still seems to me like CO2 is the biggest target. If we're trying to focus right now on solving the problem of global warming, we need to focus on the biggest, most significant target, which is CO2 emissions. At the time of me making this video, which is April 2017, excuse me, it looks like the most promising technological advancements in terms of reducing carbon output is how good solar panels are getting. It looks like Chinese companies producing solar panels have just recently had a massive boost in efficiency ratings, which actually means that relative to coal, solar panels are actually becoming more cost effective, which is amazing. Now, obviously, there's problems with that because generating power from the sun is, by its nature, not reliable. It comes when it comes, and then you have to store it and so on. But it's a good step in the right direction. Uh, I think probably a step in the wrong direction would be something like Tesla cars, just because of the amount of emissions required and pollution in general, forgetting about just atmospheric pollution, but also other types of pollution. Um, Creating those cars instead of using the cars that we currently have on the road is sort of a false economy in terms of emissions. It could actually create more emissions to just swap all our cars out to battery powered cars. So I'd like to see the big fat targets like power generation facilities be something that we're focusing on replacing. So the recording quality of this hasn't been amazing, and also I'm having some problems speaking into the mic. I still find it difficult to do, and I find that I forget my words in mid-sentence and so on. But I tried my best to make something that's at least comprehensive. Uh, these videos are still practices, basically. I'm working up to making better videos with more sources and so on that I can start to distribute. This was a review of the climate gases in the atmosphere. I am neo-serf. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, up yours, bitch.